Hello everyone, my name is Vania Naomi Hutagalung, and today I will give you my presentation about the stylistic analysis on trees by Joyce Kilmer. So these are the table of contents, which are the four main things that we are going to discuss today, and this is the poem. So I will give you out the short introduction about what this poem really talks about. So this poem talks about nature, creation, and praise towards God's ability in creating majestic things that humans are not capable of. And also a little short background about this poem. This poem was written in February 1913 and was first published in Poetry, a magazine of verse, and later it was included in Trees and Other Poems. This poem leads us to the writer's admiration towards nature. So we are going to start the analysis from the lexical features. So as you can see, we have distributed the words into open class words, which are consist of four main things, which is nouns, main verbs, adjectives, and also adverbs. So yes, we can see from the above table that this poem consists mainly on nouns and also verbs, but not as much as nouns. The nouns are mostly concrete objects, but there is a noun that is abstract as well, which is God. With this, we are going to separate nouns as the dominant open word in the poem into two areas of semantic. So we can see the poet put mainly noun about nature and also human, which emphasize how the poet really loves our nature and how he tries to compare about humanity and nature in the same time. So yes, this is the semantic area of the nouns. We basically separate it into two areas, which is nature and humanity. So from the relations above, you can see how the poet pulled the string between nature and humanity. Seeing the diction and also the relations between nature and human, the poet really trying to put equality between nature and humanity. That's what he is trying to emphasize in this poem. And yes, we're going to analyze the literary form and devices. And first, we start off by the figurative language. So basically, the use of figurative language can be detected by the usage of exaggerating terms in the poem. So you can see it on the first and also the second line. And if you're a poet, of course, you just love poem, right? Even a poet dedicates his life and willingness just to show his dedication towards poem. So when a poet describes that he has never witnessed a poem as lovely as a tree, it is exaggerating the fact that his love for the tree or nature is more than his love for a poem. Or basically in here we can say that his love is so much more than his love for the tree is so much more than his love for his life and also passion. And as also we can see the personification in here. So basically personification is literary device that used by poets or writers to give non-human things human characteristics. We can see it on the third line and also on the fourth line. And mouth and breast are human anatomy, right? Not part of a tree or earth or any kind of form in the nature. So we can see how the poet tries to emphasize that the nature is also living creature by putting human anatomy as part of the tree and earth. And yes, it continues. We can see it also in the fifth and sixth line. And logically speaking, trees does not have eyes, so it does not have the capabilities to look at God. Looking at the sixth line, it also does not have arms that can be lifted to pray. So all of these are part of human anatomy and how human behaviors when they pray, and the poet put it into the poem. And next, we can see also there is a repetition in this poem. So the word tree is repeated 5 times. So repetition is part of a poem where poet will use the same word over and over again to call the attention to the poem on behalf of the reader. So it is also used to give the idea to the readers what is the poem really talks about by looking at which word is repeated. So we can conclude that the poem is about the poet's love and admiration towards nature. And next, yes, the poem also consists of couplet rhymes. So in this types of rhyme, this kind of rhyme is called as couplet rhyme, which is A A B B C C D D E E F F, and it continues, which is a 2-line stanza that rhymes similar dual rhyming scheme. So the final conclusion of this poem is For first thing first, why we divide the semantic classes into two? Because we can see in the poem that the writers mostly address the interconnection between nature and man or humanity. You can see the comparison the writer is trying to deliver between nature and man in the poem. And second, he put it as if the tree is a living creature that could feel hungry, has mouth, looks, lives arm, wear a nest, etc. And this is to emphasize that tree is a part of the nature and living creature as well, just like human, and it should be cherished and respected as well. And the last one, the speaker uses vivid imagery to paint a clear picture of the tree's beauty in the mind of the readers, emphasizing the majestic qualities of the natural world. That's why the last stanza talks about God and humanity as a final conclusion. Because no matter how majestic, we always think human create things, but God is still the one who is capable of creating the nature we are living in. That's all for the presentation. Thank you so much for the attention.